Hey everybody, and welcome to Stock Abilities. Today I'm going to be covering the Amazon Ring drone. It came out, I believe, as an announcement on Thursday of last week. Just wanted to give a little bit of an insight what exactly it is, what I feel the future of it is, and just kind of my own input in that regard, and what I feel, upcoming for Amazon, what this means for them. So make sure to watch the whole video to get the whole impact. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Make sure to comment below your own input on this, but we're going to get started here. Essentially, what it is a flying drone. It's always home cam, which sounds kind of creepy, like in a horror movie or something like that. But essentially, it flies around your home, protects your home, so if someone like potentially breaks in or whatever, it's going to have all that recorded. It's to me, it sounds kind of creepy, but I could see the benefit of that because it hits all corners of your house. So if there's a potential home invasion or something like that, it covers every little aspect. Whereas a actual camera, whatever, so there's blind spots. Whereas the drone can go and record around, potentially even follow the actual person and record that for the police and all that kind of stuff. But there's a little bit more of an underlying on that regard, and I'll get into that here in just a little bit. But essentially, they released the Always Home Cam and the docks when it isn't used. They're projecting it's going to be $250 cost. My guess, if you wait a few years, it's going to be a lot less than that. And there's going to be knockoff products that do very similar for much less. So whether you want to wait for Amazon or whether you want to get one of them, that's really up to you. And along with the hardware announcement, Ring says you'll be able to turn on end-to-end encryption in the Ring's apps later in this year in an effort to improve the security of its devices. Before Ring was Ring, it was a startup for called Bot Home Automation. Bot Home's inaugural product, the 2014 Doorbot, was among the first video doorbells on the market. Had a lot of problems and so on and so forth. I don't know if you guys remember. You might not. They, that Shark Tank show, they had a variation of that on there, tried to raise funding. It sort of was successful, and then from there they've been expanding. And then, of course, there's a lot of other, security products that Amazon already deals with as it is. But this is kind of a unique aspect. This is what I would consider a unique market share. The ultimate problem is that, what is the security aspect on this device? The problem, according to Dave Mass here, is that what we are talking about is a private company trying to disrupt the public safety infrastructure of this country in the same way that companies have gone into other parts of our society, says Dave Mass, senior investigative researcher with the Electronic Frontier Foundation. Among other things, he says that the product is problematic for both consumer privacy and cybersecurity. His other direct quote is, information is being collected on people who are just going about their lives, not necessarily doing anything nefarious, yet they're being information collected on them anyway, he said. By deploying tens of thousands of these in a given community, you're creating a very wide surface area for attack. He went on, we've seen over the years that IoT devices, specifically web cameras and CCTVs, have been proven very rich targets for malicious actors. So the issue is more on how secure is this device, how secure is this encryption. Hacker, whatever, what have you, might come by and be able to use that against you and see inside of your house rather than the other way around where it's supposed to be protecting you. So it comes more down to the security of the device over anything else. Of course, then it also comes down to your personal data and your personal information and what you might be selling to Amazon and local officials or whatever, where they're collecting data on you when you haven't really did anything wrong. Even with the devices like Alexa and Echo and all of these different Amazon products, some of the reason that they're so cheap is because they resell that data, they resell your comments, they resell all that information to a third party. And then, of course, usually it's not used for shady purposes. It's usually used for consumerism, things like that. But the ultimate question is, how is it going to be deployed into the year-to-year basis in the future, and what that might look like for you as a person or as a consumer in regards to the safety of you and the safety of your information, and whether you feel that selling that information, even though you might not be aware of it, is worth it to you or not. Not going to get too much more into that aspect. This is more of a market share focus variation, but uh, how is it going to grow? cybersecurity is cybersecurity. It's only going to grow more and more from here. It's valued, according to this source here, it's valued at roughly 156.5 billion in 2019. Then to an estimated growth of compound annual growth of 10% from 2020 to 2027. So it's going to get billions and billions of dollars of more valuation. They're going to be in multiple sectors for cybersecurity. I mean, in my opinion, it's just getting started. They have augmented reality, they have a VR type of stuff. A lot of this is going to be kind of unique market share that's going to be implemented. I mean, people are going to be having, augmented glasses likely that are going to be security protective kind of stuff. It all comes down to how willing an average consumer is to sell said data for that purpose. Amazon's shares didn't really react to that on Thursday. It went a little bit up. It was kind of up and down throughout the week, kind of a sideways day. And then it kind of launched on Friday, but I think that's more because the overall tech market launched. Had nothing to necessarily do with this. It's still unique market share. I feel that if an individual company did something similar to this, it would be like Peloton, or it would be like Weight Watchers or GoPro or something like that, where it would attract a lot of hype market share unique to that. But since Amazon is such a big company, you're probably not going to notice much of an impact, but it should give them some unique market share because, as far as I'm aware, it's one of the only, if not few, types of products that are coming into 2021 that do that kind of thing. It's a drone that flies around your house and keeps you secure. So that's kind of, it's a unique concept, but it brings up ultimately a lot of questions in regards to security and all that kind of stuff. Is it safe, to use? Is it, price wise, is it reasonable? It's going to be $250. Is that, you know, worth it for your security? I mean, if it works well, possibly that's a relatively discounted security product. Some security companies might charge you thousands and thousands of dollars for, in-home security or outdoor security or so on and so forth. I feel that this might stir on some outdoor security aspects too, which can be very helpful for those living in more rural areas or those living in more of a country setting to better protect themselves and then record that as well. So it's a little weird that they're just focusing on an indoor security camera rather than outdoors. Maybe the device isn't capable enough of, circling a perimeter, and that, the tech is still relatively primitive in that regard. But I mean, they have lawnmowers that can, mow lawn and all this fun stuff that without you watching. So I don't see why a drone would be that specific when it's flying through the air to program, and do this kind of stuff. But in the end, are you willing to sacrifice a little bit of your personal information for a better security overall? I mean, ultimately, if you're not doing anything legally wrong, there shouldn't be a problem with sacrificing that. You'd have a little bit more protection. As it stands now, this seems more like it's suited for urban areas or suburban areas, not so much rural areas. You might as well just have the doorbell camera for that. And beyond that, I think it's a unique technology. I think it has a lot of promise into the future. I'm curious to see how this progresses and what we'll see, maybe 5-10 years from now, whether we're going to have, like I mentioned earlier, like fancy augmented glasses or, virtual reality kind of protection aspects too for security in that regard, and how they're going to protect us against those kind of things as well, and whether Amazon's going to be a part of that or whether it's going to be another company. A lot of fun future for, cybersecurity, augmented reality, virtual reality. I'm very excited about it. I guess we'll see how it progresses in the years to come. But thank you for listening in, kind of ranting here towards the end a little bit. But Amazon itself is, a very strong company. I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. But, as is with any big company this big, you got to stay hungry, essentially. You got to continue to innovate and all that kind of fun stuff. Amazon might seemingly be an unbreakable company, but even the CEO, Jeff himself, said that if you don't stay hungry, you yourself can go out of business. I mean, you've had companies like Blockbuster and you've had companies, of all different sorts all the time here, growing and growing and growing, and then out of nowhere they go kaput, and that's just it. But in the end, is it worth it? Possibly. I mean, it's kind of neat. It's a flying drone. People are going to buy it, so that's going to happen. It's Amazon, so it's market share and it's more money flow for Amazon and more growth into the future. But thanks for listening in, guys. I'll see you guys later on. If you have any comments about this Amazon home cam drone, make sure to leave it in the comments below and make sure to leave what you feel the security aspects are and what you feel the vulnerabilities are and all those kind of fun things. And any other videos you might want to see in regards to this niche, another niche, so on and so forth. That's about how I'm going to end this video, so see you later on.